David, you've obviously written a few milestones in your career, particularly with England and the Premier League, but reaching the first round or playing in the first round. Playing in the first round of the FA Cup's another one.
Yes, I was surprised, dare I say, a couple of weeks ago when someone in the change room said, "Oh, when does the FA Cup start?" And I said, "Well, January." And they said, "No, it's in November." I think the form that we're in at the moment, having had 4 games undefeated, 3 wins and the draw, we'd be favourites against anyone at home. So, yeah, we're in a good place. Eddie's the manager. Has got us in a good place, and the chaps are feeling very, very confident.
Just talking about FA Cup highs and lows for you, you said there's only really one high.
Yeah, as you've told me, 50 odd games, whatever it is in the FA Cup. It's a funny tournament. If you don't win it, then you might as well get knocked out in the earliest round, because that's all it's there for, is to win. So as far as I was concerned, I think the high point would be winning in 2008.
I know you probably won't want to be reminded of what was a shocking 05 Oldham playing for Manchester City in the third round. You got beaten in the third round.
I think I've buried that one deep in my psyche.
But it happens.
Oh, it does. I mean, again, as I say, the opportunity in the FA Cup, because of the nostalgia to start with. And I think a lot of the time, especially for the bigger clubs, I mean, round one, obviously, we're one of the big clubs, of course, but when you get the Premier League clubs in, the agenda for a lot of the big clubs is different to those going through the sort of the preliminary rounds up into the third round. And I think Oldham versus Man City was one of those. We had, unfortunately, a different agenda.
But obviously, not winning the first final in '96, Man United, Eric Cantona. Mm-hmm. What are your memories of that one?
It was a disappointing day, not just because of the result. We'd won the League Cup the year before. It was sort of like a tradition for Liverpool to go to Wembley and usually be successful. And I don't think Peter Schmeichel made a save in the game. I've got his shirt at home, which I swapped, and there's no mud on it. So it was a very disappointing day for us. And the fact that the goal was in the last 3 minutes.
And the year 2000 Villa Chelsea, your memories of that one?
That was, again, the disappointment of losing. But it was the first time Villa had been in a cup final, I think, for about 54 years. We had a penalty shootout success in the semi-final at Wembley. And again, we played a Chelsea side who, I don't think, I'm trying to think of his name, De Gooey, whatever the goalie's name was. He didn't have a lot to do that day. I think I tested him most with a header in the last minute.
And 2008, obviously the one that sticks in the memory.
2008, I mean, that was fantastic. I mean, the cup run itself, we conceded 1 goal to Plymouth at home, 2-1. We played one side in the Premier League, which was Manchester United Old Trafford in the 5th round, which won 1-0. I think it was probably our cup final in a sense, because it was arguably the toughest game you would ever play in an FA Cup run. And I mean, the semi-final and the final at both at Wembley. And interesting enough, of all the games, I think 2-1 was the only scoreline that wasn't 1-0. Every other game was 1-0.
Has Matt Tubbs been keen to remind you about the FA Cup last season?
He did, yeah. He was talking about it today. Someone asked him how he liked the balls, and he said, "Well, ask James, I'll put one past him."
Just moving on to the league form. Obviously, you started off with, I think it was the 3 defeats, but you were still very upbeat after that, and now you've got some wins to crow about.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, it wasn't nice losing 3 games in a row. Obviously, the first one, I mean, I've been here for 2 days and wasn't quite sure personally what was going on. I don't think everyone was quite sure what I was about with regards to fitting in the side. But at the same time, I saw a lot in training. I think I said this before. There's a lot of talent in this side. It was just converting the talent in training onto the pitch. And Eddie Howe's come in now. He's put his stamp on it. He's got the players playing very confidently. I mean, I think the biggest testament will be the last 2 games where we've gone 2-0 down in a game up at Notts County, which I would argue perhaps 3 or 4 weeks earlier that would have been the game over. The team's come back in it, dubious penalty to make it 3-2 for them, and still we kept going and got back in the game. And there's this sort of attitude of never say die, if you like, which is impressive. And you add that to the ability in the side, then you get results like you did on Saturday. You know, a team that goes out, absolutely dominated the game. They scored, and it wasn't a case of right, we've sort of lost the lead here. It was kind of like, well, we're going to score anyway. And it just feels so good, it really does. So.